You must sacrifice someone to manifest the Neville Goddard's method. There is a sacrifice required to manifest your desired reality. And Neville Goddard was extraordinarily clear about this. Clearer, perhaps, than any teacher who came before or after him. But like everything in this work, the word means something different than what your conditioned mind assumes. Neville said, "You must be careful of your mood, of your inner speech, for this inner speech, often heard only by yourself, is the cause of your future experience." The sacrifice isn't of something outside you. It's of something you've mistaken for you. And until you make it, you will stay exactly where you are. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because of a law so precise, so mechanical, that it cannot be argued with. Let's go through it properly. The law first. Neville's entire system rests on one foundational statement, which he repeated in almost every lecture he ever gave. Consciousness is the only reality. Not consciousness as a vague spiritual concept. Consciousness as the literal substance from which your experienced world is constructed. The outer world, your relationships, your income, your body, your circumstances, is not happening to your consciousness. It is being produced by it, continuously, without pause, without exception. In The Power of Awareness, Neville writes, "The world is yourself pushed out. Ask yourself what you want, and then give it to yourself. Do not question how it will come about. Just go to the end." This is the mechanics. Consciousness projects outward and solidifies as the world you walk around in. You don't attract your reality from a distance. You are radiating it from within, the way a lamp radiates light. Change the lamp and you change everything the light touches. This is why sacrifice is not optional. It is structurally necessary. You cannot project two contradictory states simultaneously. You cannot hold the consciousness of limitation and the consciousness of freedom at the same time any more than you can face north and south simultaneously. One state occupies the space. The question is, which one? What must be sacrificed? Neville is explicit. In Resurrection, one of his most precise formulations of this teaching, he identifies the thing that must die. The old man must die for the new man to be born. You must die to what you are before you can live to what you want to be. The old man is not your body. It is not your history. It is not even your circumstances. It is your current state of consciousness, specifically the assumptions, the feelings of reality, the habitual inner conversations that are producing your current world. This is what must be sacrificed. The current self-concept, the identity assembled from past experience, from what others have said about you, from what your bank account told you last month, from what your body looked like in the mirror this morning. All of it is the old man, and Neville is unambiguous. It must go. He puts it another way in his lecture, The Pruning Shears of Revision. The purpose of prayer is to change your concept of self and your concept of the world. You must prune away the belief that you are what you appear to be. Pruning, not adding, not layering affirmations over a foundation that remains unchanged, cutting away what currently occupies the space so that something new can occupy it. The caterpillar does not add butterfly wings to its caterpillar form. The entire caterpillar dissolves. And in that dissolution, the butterfly becomes possible. Neville understood this completely. The death and resurrection motif that runs through his work is not metaphor for its own sake. It is the most accurate description of how psychological transformation actually functions. The feeling of the wish fulfilled. Now here is where Neville's method becomes precise in a way that separates it from almost everything else in this space. He does not ask you to think differently. He does not ask you to affirm your way into a new state. He does not ask you to vision board or journal or shift your beliefs through intellectual persuasion. He asks you to feel. The secret is to feel yourself into the state of the answered prayer. And again, more powerfully, from feeling is the secret, which is probably the most important thing he ever wrote. Feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. Therefore, the man who does not control his feeling may easily impress the subconscious with undesirable states. By controlling the feeling, you can impress the subconscious with the state desired. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not enthusiasm about a future possibility. It is the felt sense of it being done now. Neville was very precise about this distinction. He said the state must be assumed, not pursued. You are not working toward your desired reality. You are occupying it in consciousness right now as a present fact. This is the sacrifice in practice. You sacrifice the feeling of wanting, which by definition contains within it the felt reality of not having, and you replace it with the feeling of possession. You sacrifice the emotional signature of your current state, and you install the emotional signature of your desired state. And the outer world, being nothing but your consciousness pushed out, has no choice but to rearrange itself accordingly. The ladder and the living from. In his lecture, The Ladder, Neville draws the essential distinction that most people miss entirely. He describes two modes of imagining: thinking of the desired state and thinking from it. Thinking of your desired reality keeps you outside it, looking in. You are the observer of something that exists at a distance. This posture contains, built into it, the assumption of separation. And since consciousness is the only reality, separation is what gets projected. Thinking from your desired reality means you have crossed the threshold. You are inside it. You are seeing the world through the eyes of your desired self, feeling what they feel, noticing what they would notice, holding the assumptions they hold. This is the state Neville calls living in the end. Live in the end, dwell in the end, sleep in the end, awake in the end, walk in the end. The end is not a future moment. Neville is emphatic on this point. There is only now. The future you are imagining into existence is accessed through a present assumption, a present feeling, a present identity. When you defer it, when you say, "I will feel this way once it manifests," you are projecting it into an illusory future that never arrives. Because by the time it arrives, it is the present. And by then, you are already projecting some new deferred state. This is why most people's manifestation practice never actually produces results. They're always wanting, never being. They're always seeking the state rather than assuming it. And the universe, which is nothing but their own consciousness reflected back, faithfully produces more seeking. Revision, the sacrifice applied retroactively. One of Neville's most practical tools is what he called revision. This is the technique of going back, in imagination, to an event that produced an undesirable emotional response. A conversation that went badly, a piece of news that struck fear, a moment of perceived rejection, and replaying it as you wish it had occurred. He teaches this extensively in his lecture, The Pruning Shears of Revision. Revision is the way to undo the damage done. Revise the day, revise every unhappy experience. Every night before going to sleep, revise any moment of the day that was not what you wanted it to be. This is not denial of what happened. It is a recognition that the event, as experienced, produced a feeling, and that feeling became part of your ongoing state of consciousness, which is actively projecting your tomorrow. Revision interrupts that projection by replacing the feeling at the root. The sacrifice here is the story, the cherished narrative of what was done to you, of why your circumstances are what they are, of who is to blame, and what obstacles stand between you and your desired life. That story is the old man. Revision is the pruning shears that cut it away, methodically, night by night, until the consciousness you are living from has been rebuilt from the ground up. The inner conversation. Perhaps Neville's most underrated teaching is on what he called the inner conversation, the continuous, mostly unconscious monologue running in the background of your mind every waking hour. He writes in Awakened Imagination, "The worlds in which we live are determined by our inner conversations and the words we speak to ourselves silently, the stories we tell ourselves in the theater of the mind. These are not merely commentary on reality. They're the substance from which reality is made. This is the sacrifice most people are unwilling to make because it requires constant vigilance. It is not enough to do a 10-minute visualization in the morning and then spend the remaining 14 waking hours running the old inner conversation. The old conversation will win every time. It has momentum, familiarity, and the addictive quality of feeling true. To sacrifice the current self is to take responsibility for the inner conversation. To notice when it is reinforcing the old state. To catch yourself in the middle of an old story. I can't afford this. This always happens to me. They always do this. And to redirect, not through forced positive thinking, which Neville had no interest in, but through the deliberate assumption of the state from which your desired self would naturally speak. Your desired self does not have inner conversations about lack. They have inner conversations consistent with their reality. What would they be saying to themselves? What assumptions would they carry so naturally that they barely notice them? That is the inner conversation you are building. The current one is what you're sacrificing. SATS, the method. The specific technique Neville returned to again and again, the one he gave in almost every lecture as the practical entry point, is what he called the state akin to sleep, or SATS. The drowsy state at the edge of sleep is, for Neville, the most potent access point to the subconscious mind. The critical faculty is relaxed. The threshold between conscious and subconscious is thin. Impressions made in this state carry directly into the deep mind and begin doing their work without the interference of the conscious intellect. The state akin to sleep is the state where you are between being awake and being asleep. In that drowsy, sleepy state, you can impress the subconscious with any idea you choose. The method: relax into that threshold state. Construct a brief scene, not a long, elaborate fantasy, but a simple, crystallized moment that implies the wish fulfilled. A handshake, a congratulation, looking at a number on a screen, hearing a specific sentence from a specific person. Feel it, make it real, let it loop, fall asleep inside it. Do this consistently, and you are systematically replacing the subconscious assumptions that have been generating your current world with new ones. You are, night by night, sacrificing the old man and building the new one. Not through force, through feeling, through the faithful, disciplined practice of assuming the state. The final point. Neville said something that is worth sitting with. Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live. Do not try to change people. They're only messengers telling you who you are. Revalue yourself, and they will confirm the change. The sacrifice is not of your ambition, your drive, your standards, or your desires. It is of the identity that is currently incompatible with those things being your reality. The old self, defined by its fears, its wounds, its habitual feelings, its inherited story. That is what Neville is asking you to let die. And in its place, the assumed state, the lived from end, the felt sense of the wish fulfilled, held consistently, revised nightly, spoken internally through the voice of your desired self, impressed upon the subconscious in the state akin to sleep. The butterfly does not negotiate with the caterpillar. It simply is what it is, and the caterpillar is gone. Sacrifice the current self, assume the new one. The outer world will follow, because it has no other choice. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it. Neville Goddard.